17. So all the luggage, when you take them off, you'll set them up here. So on the tires, also to remember, sometimes they get stuck and they're hard to take off. Sometimes they fall right off. So whenever you pull all those lug nuts or the lugs, you don't want to just leave it because they sometimes will fall right off and get your foot or damage something. So you go put that under the car, behind the jack stand, but underneath. So while we're in here, we're doing all this, now we're looking, we have the ability to see everything. You always want to look and check brake hose, make sure it's not cracked or damaged or broken or ripped. You want to make sure that there's no missing bolts on anything, nothing looks like it's coming apart. You have your brake lines for your brake fluid, brake hose, which is flexible when the car turns. You check your brake pads, make sure the brake pads are not metal to metal. These are just things we want to take it apart, but we just want to see like, hey, is there enough brakes that you don't got to worry in case you need to buy brakes. Right? And this side, if you look here, you can see the inside brake pad. Because sometimes the inside one will wear out and the outside one will look brand new. So, you got to make sure you look at both. This is a return clip, only on BMWs. Well, there's other kinds on different cars, but this is the one for BMW, so you make sure this is always there. There's also a retaining screw that holds the rotor on that's important, that goes right there. Before we're done, we sand this down to get the rust off, so that way the tire doesn't get stuck. However, we just have it. Wheel speed sensor, which is this electrical wire right here that goes wrapped around this thing. This measures the car's speed at the wheel, per wheel, so that way the ABS can work properly. So with all that, quick visual, you just look, glance, nothing looks damaged, nothing broken, nothing looks like it fell off or missing. Cool, we don't have to do nothing else. You don't have to touch anything, you don't got to mess with nothing. As long as it all looks like it's there, you don't see no oil coming out of nothing. Same thing, you check here, around here, make sure there's no oil because the shocks do leak sometimes. Little rubber piece gets ripped, falls out, makes noise when you're driving, going over bumps. Make sure this thing ain't flapping. So now that we got this off, we're going to pull that cover off because as a side 8, that's the one that's going to help us in a little bit when we go to take off that V. So we just change this battery over real quick. So it should be 3 bolts, size 8. Be like 1, maybe 2 on the bottom. 2 on the top, or we can get 10, make sure 10. And this one is plastic one, right here is going to get 10. Okay, we're going to take a 10. Alright, cool, actually that's all we need. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So that one, just go and tuck it underneath over there by the tire. Put the bolt that came out with it right there. We're going to take one off on this side. Same thing on this side, just quick visual inspection. Make sure everything looks like it's in place and intact. Everything looks good. Sensors on here. Yeah, I changed the struts on this not too long ago, so the shocks are brand new on it. Okay. So the next item we're going to do is we're going to do the tire on it, which is so we're going to put this back onto that gun right there. So the tire onto the steering is going to be, you're going to have to kind of kneel over and put it. So this guy right here. So in order to get that, I'm going to take this one off. You can use a swivel, but sometimes we have to use the extension depending on how well you can kind of get yourself in there without stripping this. So if you can get the gun in here upside down, you go ahead and zap that thing out. If it doesn't reach, I could change the extension. You should be able to get it for a shot. One or two, I'll show you. Let's get this out. Just put it back on. There we go. Really quick. Okay, so now one thing to keep in mind and be safe with. When you have a socket like this, do not let the gun go full blast. Because that shit will fly off, and I've seen it hit people in the face. So be very careful, they should wake you up. So you put this one to the side over there. So now, the trick is, the part that steers the car, this tie rod that's attached to the rack and pinion, this tie rod is kind of like pressed into the spindle right here, or they call this the knuckle, this piece right here where all these arms attach. Sometimes they'll just come right out. Sometimes you gotta hammer it out. But the problem with that is you cannot hammer on this top piece, because then when you go to put it back together, guess what? Then the part that, the nut that's threads on does not go on anymore, and then you have to replace it. So you don't ever want to hammer on this piece.
That's why you give me that tool.
Exactly, the separator tool. So like right now, we're lucky because it just was able to come right out, because I actually worked on this not too long ago. So the way you test this is this little joint right here should not have any popping sensation, should not feel rough or grinding. It should move fairly freely because there's grease in there, but it shouldn't like pop or wiggle. So if you want to move it around, you can feel it, you can see what I'm talking about. So that feels totally normal. But if you pull on it hard or push on it hard, it doesn't pop at all. The other way you check is when it's actually on the car with the tire. You go left to right with the tire, that'll also check that. Okay, so now we gotta go underneath. We're gonna go ahead and get to those arm bolts. We go on each side. So we got the 16s or the 18s. Let's see this guy. So come down on the other side over here by the tire where you're at, so you can see this. Okay, so some of these we might have to do by hand because the gun's not going to get in there with all the stuff that we have. Well, honestly, this is just the pressure from the arms holding. So now that's out. So we'll put that over there on the side. It has a little nut that has a holder that actually holds it in place so that it doesn't come out, so that you can actually just loosen just the bolt. So now we have the arm out. These arms, we replaced the bushings about a year ago. So you look inside right here, you can see the rubber section of it, that you make sure that it's not ripped. And this goes for any kind of car, no matter if it's a Beamer or whatever car's control arms. You want to make sure that the inside is not ripped, because that'll change the angle while you're driving, fuck up your tires, or mess up your tires. So that one looks good. Yeah, that's the bushing, correct.
This part outside is there?
Yeah, this is the whole bushing portion. This whole piece comes out. This is the arm, and this is the bushing. So here, this thing got rubbing on this freaking subframe right here, but it's not damaged. Well, it's damaged a little bit, but it's not broken through, so we're still good. Right here, you can see this big old mark right here. That's when the arm has been rubbing on it. Luckily, it didn't go all the way through.
That mark's not supposed to be?
No, it's not supposed to be there.
It's supposed to be flat? Or?
Yeah, it's supposed to be flat.
Oh shit.
So technically, we should have to replace this frame because that potentially can cause an issue. So, but this one, like, it'll be okay, it's not that bad, like, I've seen way worse and it's been okay.
It won't go through.
It could, but that's why it needs to be replaced. But I'll let him know anyways, you know, but we'll see what he wants to do. Cause we can't get one of these today anyways, so. So next arm we're gonna take off is gonna be this guy. So this one, we're gonna go from behind there, this ratchet, or this socket, with the gun, see if you can actually zap out this note from the other side back here. And that'll be the forward lower, rearward control arm. And make sure when you zap it, make sure it's the right fit for the socket, and then when you do take it out, don't just, you want to like do it. Cool, that's it, there you go.
That's that one?
Yeah, that's that one. Let me stare. You gotta press it upon there. So when you pull that out, hold on, when you pull that out, this whole thing is gonna wanna shift around, so be careful that your head's not in the way, or your hand's not gonna get cut or something, you know, because this whole thing is being held in place with that arm. So as you can see, when I'm moving it, it'll help me take the bolt out, so then pull the bolt out. Move it however you need to move the arm to make it easier.
This shoe won't fall?
No. You can shift it around, move it around, whatever makes it easier, so it's not pinching the bolts. Should be able to flip. Now, we need the 16, we're gonna go ahead and take off this one for the sway bar beam. This is what's the only thing left attaching this whole section to the actual frame of the car, is this last bar here. So that's the 16. Now we still on. So 16 here, ratchet. Okay, so then we're gonna take this little second wrench right here. This wrench. Same thing, this one has the same kind of situation. You check the little joint right here. Make sure it's not popping or grinding or feeling all rough. It should be nice and smooth. The boot should not be all ripped. The grease shouldn't be coming out. Same thing on the top. Tug on it, pull on it. Make sure you don't feel it popping or nothing up there. That way you know it's still intact. Now we need to just pull out this arm for the whole section. So let me get the arm. Just about hit with the hook. Inspect the bushing right here on the inside, make sure it's not ripped. which all looks good. Same with these ball joints, you wanna check the ball joint, make sure it's not all popping in, nothing crazy.
That one's really tiny.
Good, no? That's good. It's, it's coming out a little bit, no, that's nothing too crazy. But yeah, it is ripped like that a little bit, yes. Okay. This one. It's okay, nothing too crazy. The other way, we check this after we bolt it back up, before when we put the tire on. We wiggle it and test it by pushing on it and pulling on it. Okay, so now, same thing on the other side. So same thing, take these bolts out, the 18s, right? There's a gun right here. So make it way to that side. I'm gonna take out that 16 millimeter for the first sway bar knee.
This is the jet thing.
So, and then just FYI, I'm doing YouTube live, so we're on the YouTube live right now. Okay, y'all?
Should I put the jack stand first?
No, we're good right now. It's all, we're all up there safe.
Are they all 18 or what?
Yes, the bigger bolts are the 18s, yes. 16 for the sway bar link, which is the one that's on the electric branch. The sway bar
I'll
link.
put the cardboard there.
Yeah. Do that. You got it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
There's your receipt.
Appreciate it.
Should I take out the tie rod first?
Yeah, you can loosen the tie rod first like I did on the other side with a 22 or a 21.
Should I get a key in the car?
I can hang on to it. top is this is that piece that I was telling you that's gonna help us hold the engine, so almost done getting this set up and we'll be ready to rock. We just gotta figure out how to attach. Probably at the exhaust manifolds. Okay, so you got the tie rod off?
Yeah.
Did the bolt out for the control arms?
Yeah, but for the control arm, I accidentally got the wrong side.
What do you mean?
I got this side. Look. This one.
Yeah, I don't think you gotta hold the other one though. You gotta hold that one with the wrench. That's what I was doing for you on the other side. The nut for it, you have to hold that one.
I didn't have to take out this side though, right?
Which one? Yeah, that's you gotta hold it. Which one?
Cause on that other side, you gotta take this one.
Yeah, no, not that side. I'll put it back right now. It's alright. Yeah, I'm gonna probably need one. We'll just take whichever one's the biggest difference. So this one, I put up here. The rings are a little tricky because, I see that skinnier, that one's skinnier, this one the other way. Because here, I can't put this bar.
Oh, right.
It's gotta be where these are, that's where the support for the actual frame
Yeah.
is. So I was thinking if I have to want to go down and go around where the motor mount arm is,
Yeah.
so we can hang it from that arm, and then this one I just kind of finagle my way down to get it on that arm.
Oh,
And then that way go home together, and we should be able to plug the sensor right here. Because the other thing I could do too is that what I've done in the past is I get the arm really close to here, and I'll put a clamp on both sides.
right.
So it's like hoisted here, and then I can put a chain that comes straight to this, so when it wants to go down, it's gonna kinda go at an angle. And then what we do is we put like an adjuster screw between two of the links with the bolt, and if it sags, I just tighten the bolt, which shortens the chain,
Right.
so that it doesn't sag down on the way. Which I'll probably end up doing that, because that's the only way to keep it centered. But I'll try if we get the brackets first. But if not, that's how I'll probably end up trying to do it. Okay, so what's going on? You good?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Okay. No pressure, no pressure. Not really sure if I was gonna have to drain the power steering, so I got an extra bottle too.
Well,
The same one, just in case,
yeah.
because if you do drain it, watch me put it fresh.
Yeah.
And I had an extra extra ball at the house, so I brought it just in case.
Hey, how did you take this one out?
You gotta kind of like pray and hope that you can get it in there. If you can't, do it by hand. Take it out by hand, the big ratchet. Yeah, you kind of gotta like be very delicate with the gun to get that one.
Because the socket's not fully on there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you kind of gotta know. Here, just do it with this one.
Yeah, I want to round that shit up.
Right. So the new stands are locked in, so extra support for sure. You're good. So I'm gonna come back around with it. And just so they can see a quick view of what happened up on top, is we got the subframe support or engine support hoist up there, put on. We're gonna attach it down below here in a minute. Okay, so now I'll use a little pry bar, which I got right here. Let me see, I got you. And then how do the bushings look on this side? They both look good. They don't look ripped or nothing.
Look good right here.
And this is the one you loosened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll tighten that up after. That's not no problem. Okay, so next is gonna be 16. Which I think is on here. 17, 16. You get 16 for this one right here, and then you need to hold it from behind it with the crescent wrench or adjustable wrench for now. You can hold it back here, and I'll loosen it on this side. Let me get this off for you. 16 or 17? 16 is. Sway bar thing, 16 millimeter. Okay, okay, watch fingers. You also remember that now that the whole thing's coming apart, that whole side can move around, so just be careful. You can get pinched by it or something. Now, that's off, you can pull a little arm out. You have to pull out the wrench, pull that out, yep, pull that out. So then you're gonna check both of the joints on it, make sure that they don't pop or grind or feel rough or broken in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Good, okay, cool. So then we just kind of get that out of the way a little bit. So we also have the oil level sensor, which is on the bottom of the oil pan. This one I didn't mention to you earlier, but this one, we just gotta disconnect it and move it out of the way. The plug, so that way when we do take this down, we want to make sure we're careful not to damage the sensor right here. That's the oil level sensor, so when you check the oil on the dashboard, because there's no dipstick, this is what is doing it. No, no dipstick. So the computer talks to this sensor and says, hey, how much oil do I have after you've started the engine for about a minute and it warms up? It'll tell the dashboard to show you how much oil, if you need to add a quart, if it's low, or you know, you have an issue going on where you need to add, and it'll tell you how much you need to add, if it's 1 quart low, 2 quarts low. Right? So next, let's see, we're gonna go ahead and see what we got going on here. Let's close out of here. Let's go there, okay, so you got that off. We're gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and take out this V. So this one, up right above you, that bolt right there, this bolt right here, right, and then there's 2 bolts up here. These are 16s. So remember that adapter that we got earlier, which is right here. Don't see this guy, take the whole thing off. This guy. Hold it so it doesn't fall. You holding it? Yep. Hold it. That one. There you go. Okay, so now we'll get this up out of the way. So before we're all said and done, we'll clean all these parts so that everything goes back on nice and clean. That way it stays clean. I'm gonna give you some rags. Your hands. There you go, brother. Yep, that makes your hands clean. Okay. So the next part, okay, so just make sure nothing's dripping in your face or getting in your mouth, like it's dripping down or in your eyes, you know? Because sometimes like little water droplets that have oil should land in your eyes, so you should be wearing safety glasses low key. Because they'll save your life. Especially when we're underneath like this, very important. So we'll get you some next time you come out. Because yeah, like it's just, you don't want to take a chance, some shit fucking your eyes out, you know? Down. Okay, so the next thing is we need to work on getting to the steering column attachment, which is going to be, let me see who else does that. It's going to be right up here. This is the rack and pinion. So right above it, right here. So we should be able to move this and see, right here, this is where it attaches. There's a little bolt that goes sideways through there. So remember this, you can just move it out of the way. So, watch it. So right. Yeah, I have that other light if you want to use it. No, that's cool. Okay, so if you follow this right here, this piece, right, it goes right up here. And there's a bolt, and if you can see my hand, right here's the bolt on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Alan turn the steering wheel real quick. Alan! Alan!
Yeah.
Can you turn the wheel to the passenger side like a quarter turn?
Okay.
Right there, that's good. That's, yeah, so right there. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a bolt right here. It looks like a star, like a star screw. The head of the bolt is not a regular screw, it's a star. So what happens now is when we pull this screw out, we gotta wiggle this part and it'll come off. So that way now the steering wheel is no longer attached to this unit, to this section of the car. And then that way, we can go ahead and get this out of the way because we're gonna actually probably have to drain the power steering fluid. There's a sensor that we have to disconnect on it. We're gonna disconnect the feed hose, which is this guy right here that comes from up top, because we're gonna have to drop this out of the way because it's gonna come down with this. And we don't want it to be navigating around these hoses when we have the fluid to replace it, so we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way so it's easier. So that socket, I think, check is a like E6 or E8, I think. Just grab it right here. I just gotta see it in my seat. Or E10 or 12 or something like that. It's 11. Or E12, I think, yeah. Let me actually grab an extension so you see squeeze our hand up in there. Okay, here you go. So this one should be the right one. Let's see.
You wanna come on this side?
Yeah, we'll probably have to do this. That.
Nah, baby.
So it's an E12, possibly E11, but E12 for sure, so it's good. Hey, Alan,
Yeah.
hold the steering wheel tight.
Alright.
Go Go back a little bit to the driver's side. Just a little bit, right there is good. Hold it right there. So Alan,
Yeah.
I'm gonna disconnect the steering wheel down here, so it's gonna be moving off freely. So whatever you do, do not let it like spin in a circle, because it'll mess up the thing for the clock spring, which is for the airbags and the turn signals.
Okay.
We don't wanna mess that up, so just kinda, you can, if it moves around a little bit, that's okay, but just don't let it, cause it'll spin all crazy, like if you let it.
Yeah.
Okay, so disconnect it right now.
Just hold it, right?
You can let go now, like for the meantime. I just gotta pop this thing loose really quick. This guy right here. Turn it a little bit, Alan. Either way, yeah, keep going, keep going. Turn a little bit more. Other way. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, so now it's completely free, so be careful.
Okay.
Okay, you're like 100% off now, so. Okay. So what we're gonna do to disconnect this is there's two high pressure lines that come in right here. One comes from the pump and one actually feeds the rack or returns from the rack back to the reservoir. So there's two of them right here. I think they're 18s. So we're gonna take the 18 socket. This is 16. This is 16. 17. Let's see what checks is on. I think it's 18. Maybe it's 19, but let me see that.
What is it?
No, this is 16. This is a 16 and a 17. We'll check right here. We got 18 right here, I think. So now we need to get the container that we used yesterday, not the new one, but the one we used yesterday. What has the water in it and shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna use that one to catch this fluid that we're gonna take out. Because now you need 21, so get a bigger socket.
You talking about this one?
Yeah, that was one we used yesterday for the homeboys club in Vancouver. Shit crazy.
side over there, a couple of screws. I don't get nothing lost. Just trying to figure out something in.
What size is it?
This is a 22 or 7/8 is what I'm using, but it's a 22. Okay, so we're gonna put that container right here. As soon as I loosen this, all of our steering is gonna come out. All power steering wheel. Yep, that's off. So we're gonna take this out. We're not gonna move this down here right now. Matter of fact, we're gonna put this over there. This over there. Extension. You can pull a big gun out too. Use the sight right now, the big infrared gun. Lost out.
I don't know if you need to do something. Wait, which one are you doing?
There's two more right here. That's the one. Pull it on, like pull back, move it. Don't let the bushings get into the oil, it'll get fucked up. First one. Here's this, put this in the rack, wipe it down, unspool. Sometimes power steering. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Or, yeah, that's fine. This. Obviously that way. They said, well, that drains.
Well, that's power steering.
That's power steering.
And would you just take off?
The return line. Well, that was actually the feed line from the power steering pump to the rack and pinions. Now we're gonna take out the one that actually returns the fluid back up to the reservoir. After it returns and stuff, whatever it doesn't use, it cycles back up to the front, so the pump can make more pressure.
Use those small the power steering fluid?
Yeah, that's the power steering.
That's not smaller.
That's small.
Probably like an 18.
That's the one I have right here, about a 19.
Was it on the gun?
No, it's right here. Fine.
Oh, right here.
So right, put it down, go off of that really quick. That way we can put oil on everything. Same thing, it says 2 copper crush washers. steering wheel draining out completely. So now when we go to disconnect the subframe, the steering itself can stay on this subframe piece while the hose for the engine, for the steering, can stay up with the engine. And that way we have space to get the oil pan to drop down and out. We just gotta make sure we get all this oil
So
out.
basically, you just disconnected it from the subframe.
Yeah, or no, we disconnected the subframes, or the power steering from the actual engine itself and left it on the subframe.
So the power steering is not attached to nothing right now?
Right. So we also have to disconnect this hose right here because this little bracket has it attached to the rack. So we need to disconnect that with the size 10. I'll grab that real quick. So that one's right here. Let me have the battery for that gun. Well, actually, no, never mind. Let me get the other battery. I have the second battery. The car. Yeah, So now I got both of these in action here. So now this is just attached to the power steering pump way up on top. It'll probably stay draining and dripping for the whole time. It'll trickle out real slowly because of the little bend in the hose and stuff. But you can wipe it down at the end of it, the metal hose. There's all this right here. You can put some silver green on the rag if you want. That way you can kind of really clean it up. But yeah, here you go. That one, that drain. Clean it, check right here. So next, we need to. Next is going to be, we need to attach those chains from up above, from the holder to the engine, around the arms where the motor mounts go, because now we're ready to lower down. Actually, no, we need to disconnect this hose first, actually, off of the subframe. Once we disconnect this hose here, which is coolant, because we don't want to drain it coolant if we don't have to. So there's two kind of pain in the ass fucking clips, screws, or whatever you want to have it, whatever they have them right here. Down the screw, yeah, the screw. That's a screw right there. This one right there, and then I think it also attaches. So right there. I'll get this one once we loosen these bolts a little bit, and it gives me a little bit more space to the hand. This side I can get to it for sure, no problem. It's just this driver's on the top, that hook that we put, like that's on that red bar, it has a chain that's coming down. We're gonna loop the chain around, and maybe it'll reach back up to the hook, possibly, it might reach, I don't know. If not, we have to put like a screw with a nut and bolt, or a nut and bolt, or a screw into something, like the side of the engine or something to help hold it. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to go up on top, and then grab from the box the needle nose pliers, and I'm gonna try to pass the chain there up to you so that you can grab it and pull it upwards and put it onto the hook. There's a hook up there. It's hanging down.
This box, right?
Yeah, top drawer.
You have the chain already?
I got it in my hand already. You see where it's attached up there on the hook? On this side.
Yeah.
So I need you to be able to give me more slack on that chain. So I'll take it off of one side of the hook.
You want me to put it on the last beam?
Yeah, please.
Hold on, give me a second. What about now?
Okay, so what we're gonna have to do, okay, in the back of my car, on that little red box, with the little screws and stuff,
Yeah.
we're gonna need that, we're gonna have to put, but there's gonna be no way for this, the chain's not gonna reach all the way up there. So bring that box with the screws.
This one, right?
Yep. This bolt right here, and I'm just gonna find the nut. Washer. That goes on to.
grade 8 washers, black washers, like strong, like really strong, that will hold that weight. So take that chain and put it back how it was with like one, how it had it wrapped on both hooks. No, pull it off of there, or loop it around so it hooks onto both hooks.
It is.
It's on both hooks,
Yeah.
so it's got one link on each hook.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
See?
Yep. Cool. All right. That's all that is. So now I'm gonna do my hand in here. So now I get this.
Can you see, or is my light
Now
on?
you're good. Okay, so now start to tighten up that chain by pulling that hook up, like screwing the thing. And you're gonna make sure that that chain, you see that metal thing is touching right there? You see the thing that's touching? You wanna make sure that you don't get caught on that, because it will break that right off. So you gotta make sure that once you start to tighten it up, you pull the hook up, right, you screw it. So start turning the piece on top. Tighten, 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 keep going. As that gets tighter and tighter and tighter, it's gonna pull. And when it starts to pull, it's gonna wanna lift up on all this. Okay, so hold on, let me see, let me adjust this right here in a second. And hold on, let me get this adjusted here. 1 second, don't pull anywhere, hold on.
You want me to loosen it?
Yeah, come down really quick for a second. Okay, go ahead, pull up on it. So you can actually pull the hook up, like by your hand, just pull it all the way up, and then spin that thing down, so you can get it to speed it up.
Is it good right here?
Yeah, keep going. Okay, so now, is it starting to get tight?
Yeah.
Okay, so is the chain hitting anything? Is it hitting any sensors, anything in the way? You look okay?
Looks good.
Okay, so tighten it up, keep going.
Up.
Yeah, keep going.
Hold on. It's hitting this, but I don't know how hard.
We'll put it this way, when the weight of the engine's on it, it's fucking throwing on it hard.
Look, you want to check it out?
Yeah, I don't want to come out. First thing, this plastic thing?
No.
Yeah, so what we do.
You want me to remove the other side?
down a little bit, because that's already lifting up the engine. Okay, so now this one, we'll touch here. Let's see. Let me make an adjustment on this really quick. It's seen down below, ain't gonna see shit anymore. Tall. Let's see. Loosen. Tall. 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 Tall as she can be. Bam. Let's see. Tighten. Bam. Only got like 16 mud truckers right here watching us. We ain't doing nothing. So real quick, so what we're gonna have to do first is make sure this wiring is not gonna get damaged. We're gonna make sure that this plug right here is not gonna get damaged. That looks good. Okay, so to be safe, let me go this real quick. Just to be safe, because I don't want to break this part because I don't have one with me, because we don't want to have to buy one. This little metal tower thing, which is a cold secondary air injection valve. We're gonna just take it off the engine real quick. It's only 2 screws. And then the hose that goes to it.
What are you gonna do with one?
Now I'm gonna take this piece off because remember when we take off the thing on the bottom, that's the only thing holding the motor. So the weight of the motor is gonna be pressing against this nice little soft piece of metal. And that she could bend, break, snap, and we don't wanna have to buy another part. So it's better for us just to take it off and take a chance on it not breaking. So that's when the car's cold, when it turns on, it uses that valve to take air from here to help the engine warm up. We'll start injection down. Wash your fluid. Size 10 millimeter little nuts on to hold it. Kind of hard to get the second one. The first one's pretty easy. Second one can't see, which is chain over here. Also, too careful leaning right here. There's a plastic water pipe right here. This one, that shit breaks all the time. Be very careful. There's like the third one I had to put on here. So if you want to grab the gun with the size 10 on it, which should be right there, a regular little short gun, small one.
Where's that?
Should be right here somewhere. The power steering reservoir right there that has those 2 size 10 nuts on there with the washers. Just take those off.
They want to leak or what?
There's no oil. We took it out.
washer. Did it hit the floor? Secondary air injection valve. Now out of the way so we don't have to worry about getting damaged. The gasket's still in place, check. And it didn't hit the ground, huh?
I see it though.
Okay, so you're dealing with pliers. Let's see what it looks like now real quick. Real quick. Just really quick. Here. You can go ahead and get that out. I'm gonna go take something else off, but take out that piece. We'll get that bolt that fell. Potentially we might be doing that oil filter housing, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this off anyways. Flathead. You can't get to it yet, don't worry, because we're gonna pull all this stuff off.
Yeah, I already got it.
You got it? Okay, cool. Pull the air box real quick. Do I have a little flathead screwdriver down below? Is it right there?
The red one?
Okay, a little red one, right there. Air wash, the air filter goes up. We gotta get down on your air filter. The air filter is pretty dirty. Okay. Take this out. You can pull that other paper out too. That's okay. That we're using for water protection. Just gotta pop this to the side for now. Okay, so this one, we're gonna have to end up pulling this intake tube portion off because we don't have a straight shot at getting around that bracket. Also, because we have to take this hose off from the frame, we got that screw right there, and then over here, we got one other screw right there for that plastic hose that I was telling you. So those ones, we just get like a real long extension, and I think that's a T30, the star sockets. And we just reach down and zap those two out. And we take off. Let's get this like this. Wait for a second. When you lift this up and off, these little pieces right in the middle, they fall off, and then usually they loss, and then the little thing shakes while you drive. So we kind of go like this. So kind of like stay out. We're going to disconnect this vacuum line for the brakes. White tab right here. Push down on this all the way. So this is for the brake, so that you have